Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Guys, welcome back to Why Not. I am back after my little break, and in this episode, it's a little short one. We talk a little bit why sometimes it's great to take a break and you need to take some time out, and that is okay, and how you can get back into stuff if you do take some time out, and little things to avoid doing. So I hope you enjoy as ever, and here is my episode on dealing with burnout, taking breaks. I don't know, I'll figure out the name of the podcast in a minute. Well, hello guys, and welcome back to Why Not. So, I'm sure you have been wondering where I have been for the last few months, or maybe you haven't, maybe you've not even noticed, but for those of you who do care, I just decided, because at the start of the summer, I suppose I was feeling really burned out and fed up of constantly creating content. Normally stuff like making a podcast is like really interesting to me because I've explained before, I did audio production back in college, so I really enjoy recording and editing. But it had started to become a chore, and trying to think of something new each week and trying to get guests and stuff had kind of become really, really difficult for me, and I was kind of like, I'm not enjoying this. Same thing went for like Instagram and trying to create content for that. I'd been doing a lot of rehashing, and it was coming into the summer, and I had a lot of things on in June, and then I don't know how it is now the end of August. I know this is going to come out in September, but somehow it's already well the end of that time. And I had a few things on over the summer as well, and I just thought, you know what, this is the time to take a break, because not only have I things on because it's summer, but everyone else does, because as soon as the kids come out and come off school and people go on holidays and stuff like that, like there's kind of, not in a sense no point, but like it's very hard to keep creating content that like a lot of people aren't going to see because they're not around, and rightly so. Like this is, I suppose, the first official summer in the last 2 years where we can just do whatever the hell we want. So people are going on more holidays, people are going to different things left, right and centre, and that's fully understandable. So I thought, here's the time now, take a little break, reset and refresh, and then you can come back now at the end of the summer, as I am now, and record, get back to recording, get back to posting stuff, and it'll feel a little less of a chore and a drag, and I can actually maybe enjoy it again a little bit. So that was kind of one of the reasons I took a break, and I think it's kind of, I suppose, in a sense, given me a idea for my first podcast back in talking about like, should we take a break or should we keep going, and knowing the difference between, like, I suppose, really physically needing a break and maybe not being arsed. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, because I suppose it took me, maybe even like 2 months of like really not enjoying doing what I was doing till I finally admitted, okay, maybe you need to take a break. And I think we can always feel a bit like that when it comes to, again, like fitness or, work, stuff like that, trying to balance things. It can be like really, really difficult to allow yourself that break. And I think it's worth talking about. And I think one of the reasons, now me personally as well, because I was feeling like, if I was posting, I need to be posting every day, I need to be having my podcast out every week, and I need to be doing all these things. And this could be the same for your training. Like, say for instance, if you're training, you might want to have to say like you have to train every day, or you lose the run and that's the end of it. Or if you don't do everything on a certain day, there's no point doing it. And that's like how I felt when it came to like producing content, and that's why I want to talk about it. So basically, there can be this feeling that if you stop, you won't start again. And that to me is, in particular, is very, very difficult to admit, like, and my thing was I had to keep rolling, keep going, or that would be the end of it. And it puts yourself under a lot of pressure. And then you put yourself under this pressure that you don't actually enjoy what you're doing, and you're doing it for the sake of it. And are you actually getting any benefit off doing it? Or are you just going through the motions? And that's why sometimes taking a break can really, really make a change for, like, make a difference for you. Because, like, if you are just going through the motions, you're not really focused on what you're doing. You're kind of just, like hitting your head off a wall. They say it's only so many times you can bang your head off a wall before you get a headache. And you're not enjoying it. It doesn't feel like it's worth doing. You mightn't be getting the feedback you wanted. Say, for instance, if it comes to training, you may not be getting the results or the strength increases that you wanted. In my case, you might be getting the feedback I wanted from what I was doing. And that slowly chips away at you, and like not wanting to do it more and more, to the point where you might just give up and never go back. So this is why I think sometimes it's worth checking in with yourself if you find you're struggling and you're really finding it difficult to do what you're supposed to love doing, and checking in with yourself and going, you know what, I'm not enjoying this right now, I'm actually going to take a break. It's perfectly fine. Like, I say when it comes to training, every so often I will take a rest. Now, I'll still probably walk. Sometimes I still horse ride. And depending on the time of, say, for instance, if I go on holidays, I don't exercise. My exercise is walking from place to place, and that's about it. Generally, it's walking from the pool to the bar. And I'm okay with that, because I spend enough time training during the year. I normally train like 4 to 5 times a week, and then I horse ride on top of that, and sometimes I do runs, which is a lot. So it's not going to kill my body to take a break. And I feel like people, when they do go on holiday, still feel like they have to exercise. But like, if you're going on a 10-day holiday, like, you really don't need to. Maybe if you're away for a long time, you might want to. But part of the whole point of being on holiday is breaking the routine and the norm. Like, you wouldn't say, for instance, if you're on your 2 weeks holiday from work, you're not going to like log in on your emails to check everything's alright, or log in on work. Now, maybe you are. If you are, probably need to assess that. Now, obviously, if you own your own business, different. But this is what I mean, like, so why do you feel like you need to exercise in that time? Like, this is your rest and relaxation. You're supposed to do things you don't normally do. You're supposed to feel different to how you normally feel, and it's like a reset button. Now, sometimes we go so hard that you come back needing another holiday, but that's just a whole different story. What I'm saying is, we take that, like, you go on holidays, you go for a week off, it's a break from what you're doing. And then I suppose when it comes to the likes of getting back to work, it's very easy, if you're not self-employed, obviously, that you have a start date that you start back. So you go, okay, this is the day I get back. And there's no reason, if you take a break from exercise, that you shouldn't do the exact same thing, because this is where we tend to fall down in things like not coming back. So, for instance, today I am recording the podcast. This is going to come out at the end of September. However, this was pre-recorded at the end of August. But I said to myself, this week I'm going to record a podcast. I have a little whiteboard, what I'm going to do. And in my whiteboard, I wrote, record episode of podcast. And that was it, locked in. Today is the day that I am recording an episode of podcast. And yes, I could ignore that, but I like to think that when I write things down, I do them. So that was the whole point. I've written it into my diary in a sense. I have locked in, this is the time, this is the day I'm going to record a new podcast. And this is what we need to do when it comes to our fitness or whatever else that we are, say, for instance, just hammering away at hoping that we can keep going. So if you want to take that break and you're afraid of not coming back, you sit down, you go, okay, I'm taking maybe a week, maybe 2, maybe longer off the gym, because I'm not enjoying it right now. However, I'm going to be back in the gym by this date. And that is the day you do it, and you have that locked in, and it's like a promise to yourself that you're going to do it. And it's really important, I think, that we do this, because, as I said, if you don't put that in, you are going to leave it go, and it will snowball and roll for longer and longer and longer. Even when I said I was taking a break from recording the podcast, I said it was going to be July and possibly August, and it ended up being both. It just so happens as I'm recording this, I will be away next week. So I did a few more reshares of podcasts. They're great episodes. All the episodes are great, but like I did like pick some out there for people to may have missed and really, really good to listen to. But knowing that, I was able to sit down and go, right, this is going to come out when I get back. So I can sit down, I have plenty of time to have it ready to go. And it will be ready to go. And I had that down, as I said. I think it's also worth noting as well, when we are coming back to something we've taken a break in, don't expect to go gung-ho straight to where you started. So in my case for this, it was, as I was bringing back to creating content and stuff again, I didn't try to do everything the first day I was back. Over the course of the month, I gradually added more things in. And that's a great thing, like, you know, you can schedule stuff as well. So, you know, I scheduled maybe my Instagram post for a couple of weeks, and then I made sure my emails were sorted. You know, you did it in little bits. You didn't try to do it all at once and try to write a whole new book of content and go again. And it's the same with the gym. If you've taken a time off the gym, taking a time off exercising, you don't go and expect to go straight at it again, you know, go to the exact same intensity as you were, you know, even if it's a couple of weeks. Like, I always find it's best if you're taking a week or two off to ease yourself in. Like, even, yes, you can do these weights, but you haven't done them, so give your body a chance. Do it slightly lower. That way you go through the session, you feel grand after. You're going to be sore either way once you take a break, so at least you can minimise how sore you're going to be. And then the same thing, like if you've taken an extended period of time, do not jump in exactly where you left off, because two things are going to happen. One, you're going to be in bits for a week. Two, you're probably not going to do as well as you think you should. And three, because I said there was going to be two things, there's going to be a third thing because I'm an instructor. You're going to feel shit about yourself. So if you give yourself that advance, going, okay, I'm coming back, I'm starting new, I haven't done this in a while, I'm not going to go to the intensity that I normally go to, then you go, great, fine. Because if you go to the intensity you normally go to and you quote unquote fail, you're going to feel like shit and you're not going to want to come back. So this is why these are all things that are really important to think about, especially if you've taken an extended period of time. And the thing about it is, if you have trained before, you'll be surprised how quickly it comes back. So instead of, you know, beating yourself up at the start, being in bits for a week, also if you try to go to the same intensity after a break, there's a strong possibility you'll injure yourself, and then that puts you out for longer and puts you off going back altogether. So I think, remember that as well. This is something that we need to stay on top of. Think of these things before we go, because we have an awful habit of doing this, and again, as I said, it puts you off. You're like, oh, I'm not fit anymore, oh, I'm bad at this, oh, like, why do I even try? All these different things, and it's really, really disheartening to feel like that. But if you already plan ahead and know, okay, it's not going to be as easy, so we're going to do it this way, it's going to make things a whole lot easier. And then before you know, as I said, you will be back to where you were and you'll feel great about it. I think another thing to think about as well is you have to be patient with yourself when you're restarting as well. Or, you know, don't be afraid to share with people that you are finding it hard to do what you've been doing. Like, I straight out had a conversation with my other half and said, look, I'm going to take a break from this. And he was like, yeah, grand. You know, that, like, it's going to feel like a really big deal to say that it's hard, or you're not enjoying it, or you're not doing the stuff that you're supposed to enjoy. But you'd be surprised if you just talk to someone, it'll be like a weight lifted. Or the other thing is, you know, they might feel the same. So it could be a case of you're going, say for instance exercise, you're going, God, I'm really, really struggling with this, I'm not really enjoying it. Your friend could be like, yeah, the same, let's switch things up, maybe let's go for some walks because the weather's nice, maybe let's do some running instead of gym work. Because I find as well, like, you know, Ireland and our 5 days of good weather, that it really makes you not want to be inside working out in a gym. Like, I have a client who got me to give her home workouts as well, because on the good day she didn't want to go inside and she'd work out in her back garden. And sometimes that's the way to do it. Like, you know, your mate you normally go to class with, why don't you just do a workout at the back garden together? You know, you can probably come up with something or find something on YouTube that you can do together and know you'll be able to keep up with. Or, you know, your trainer, or, you know, they probably have stuff online that you can use as well. So there are all these little things that we can work around. Like, it doesn't have to stay on this strict schedule all of the time. And that's the beauty about life in general, I suppose, like exercise, doing different things. Like, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. Like, there's so many different ways of doing things. I could use the saying about cats, but I don't think I will. There's so many different ways of doing things. So there's not to say that because plan A isn't working, you don't have to go plan A but harder. Or, you don't have to throw plan A out the window. You could have plan B, which is something that's completely different. Or you could have plan 8.5 or something like that, which is like A, but a little bit different. There are all these variations we can do. And sometimes we get such tunnel vision on the fact that we have to keep going, we can't stop, and we have to keep going the way we're going, or we're going to be a failure, can really, really cloud your judgment. And I'm saying this from experience because I was the exact same. I was like, I have to keep hammering at this or I won't do it again. Whereas here I am, took the break, feel a little bit better of myself. Like, this is me even like justifying myself taking time off for all of my loving listeners. But this is why sometimes we need to take this time, and we need to take this time for ourselves. And, if the thing that you do for yourself or this thing you do as part of who you are isn't bringing you joy, like, it's okay to say that, and it's okay to admit that, and it's okay to go, do you know what, I'm going to take a couple of weeks away from this until I feel like I'm ready to enjoy it again. Now, as I said, this is why the start date can come in really, really handy, because if you don't have a restart date, it could be 6 months, it could be a year before you ever go back. So having that set down, going, all right, September, the kids are back to school, I'm going to start doing my classes again. Or, same thing, like this date in September, I'm going to start again because work settled down, or I know the weather's going to change and I'm ready to come back and give things a go. And a good trainer, if you're going to the gym, will always encourage you to come, but, take it at your own pace. They're not going to kill you on your first day back. So I just think it's really important to acknowledge these things when they come up, and it's okay to address them, and it's okay to take that time, and it's okay to come back at a later date. Like, it's not, if you keep going at something, it's only going to be low quality, and it's not going to affect you the way it should. You're better off, you can be coming back rested and refreshed and ready to take it on again. And this comes, as I said, anything in life, anything you find you're struggling with. Obviously, sometimes like stuff like work is a bit harder, but the thing about work is we have holidays, so you can take a break and you take a week off, and yeah, maybe you're miserable going back, but at least you've gotten that reset and the refresh that you've needed, and you're ready to come at it again. And if the things in work aren't changing after a couple of weeks and you still feel it's crap and useless, you can always look for another job. But anyway, I suppose, this kind of is a short episode. I am a little bit out of practice in talking to myself for 20 minutes to half an hour, so I'm kind of trying to get, I suppose, main points in here in a kind of short and sweet way, with a little bit of waffle, that you guys might find helpful for anyone who is maybe struggling with exercise at the moment. Someone's struggling with something to do like content creation, they're struggling with anything, and you're kind of saying, I can't stop. Give it a break. It's okay to take a break. It's maybe all you need is a couple of days. It doesn't have to be a 2-month time out from what you're doing. It could be a few days just to clear your head. It could be a long weekend. It could be a week. It could be just, anything. It could be switching off your phone for the weekend and not being contactable on social media. Something like that can even be a break of just giving yourself a bit of space. I think it's worth noting and remembering that these options are always here. And I think we forget that when we feel so stressed and pushed that we have to do everything all the time. This is your sign. If it's been knocking on the door for a while, take a little breather if you need to, and with that, I think I am going to leave you for my first episode back. As I said, short and sweet. If you do want to find me, you will find me on Instagram and TikTok. It is Chrissy H Fitness. Also, I have an equestrian TikTok and Instagram, which I'm trying to put more effort into at the moment. So equestrian guys, pop over there. That is Strong at the Saddle. So it's at Strong in the Saddle _ on Instagram, and at Strong in the Saddle on TikTok, no underscore. Strong in the Saddle's already gone on Instagram, that's why. And my website is also www.chrissyhawkins.com. You can find on that website, you can find some Kickstarter workout plan for free, and also a PDF, the Happy Hips for Horse Riding PDF. They're all there free on my website, and any coaching inquiries, you can go in there in the contact box there. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and look forward to bringing you guys more content. If you do enjoy these episodes, do rate me, and feel free to drop me a DM if you want me to cover a certain topic. I'm happy to do that. So thanks again for listening. I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.